Good afternoon, everyone. This is Samrat Banerjee, research scholar at the University of Burdwan under the supervision of Professor Devdas Rakshit, Department of Commerce, University of Burdwan. So our topic is related to corporate finance. It is value generation through spin-off evidence from India. So first of all, we need to understand what is spin-off. So to understand that, we need to understand what is corporate restructuring or corporate rebuilding. We have heard about the terms mergers, which are very much famous nowadays recently because in India, we have seen the merger of public sector banks, which is a very emerging topic nowadays. On the other hand, we can see a spin-off, which is just the opposite of merger. It is the demerger. What is the meaning of demerger? For example, ITC has 5 businesses. It deals with tobacco, hospitality, hotel, and other businesses. If ITC decides to focus specifically on the tobacco sector, then someday it can become an ITC tobacco company, a separate company under the head ITC. So that is a form of demerger or spin-off. So it is exactly the opposite of the merger. Nextly, I'll start off with the literature review. So I have done a survey of the literature of various authors. So we can see Sisodia has focused on the merger, the Tata Tea Tetley merger, which is one of the very important case. Malik and Rakshit sir, my supervisor, they focused on the EVA generation through the spin-off, demerger. Then Hamiduddin, 2010, he focused on the shareholders value generation perspective on the spin-off, and specifically they focused on the impact on the shareholders' wealth. On the other hand, Zakaria and Arnold, they also focused on the impact on the shareholders' wealth. So in all these cases of literature, we can see that the impact of merger on the financial performance of the company or the impact of demerger or spin-off on the financial performance or on the stock returns of the company have been emphasized. So that is my literature gap over here, or the research gap over here, that I am focusing specifically on the value generation perspective of spin-off. Next, I will start off with the data sample and methods. So over here, I have taken 10 sample demerged company from 10 different industries, along with 10 control non-demerged company to establish my fact. And the period of study is ranging from 2010-11 to 2018-19. Why? Because I have tried to avoid the impact of the financial crisis in 2007-8 and 8-9. And I have totally avoided the impact of COVID-19, which has started from 1920. So we have taken the companies that have demerged in 2014-15 and 2015-16 in order to see the impact. Now, the effect of the spin-off on shareholders' value generation have been studied over here, specifically with respect to the market value added, that is the MVA, and the SVA, that is the shareholders' value added. So we know MVA is basically market capitalization minus capital employed, and capital employed is basically as a summation of the share capital as a whole and the reserves and surplus and long-term debt minus the fictitious assets. On the other hand, it can also be termed as shareholders fund plus non-current liabilities. On the other hand, shareholders value added is basically a summation of market value added and equity dividend, which is ED over here. We have taken a 3-year data for both MVA and SVA before and after spin-off to analyze the impact of spin-off on these variables, and the coefficient of variation have been computed. We have applied a sample pair t-test to check whether the impact of spin-off is sufficient, statistically significant or not on value generation perspective. So the first hypothesis over here is there is no significant difference between the market value added after demerger and prior to demerger for both the demerger and the control companies. And the second hypothesis, we have seen that there is no significant difference between the shareholders value added after and before demerger with respect to both the demerge and the control companies. Now coming to results and discussion, I have just shown the table over here. So if we see the test of significance on the market value added, what we can see over here, since the number of companies are 10, so the degree of freedom over here are 9. So in case of both spun-off and control companies, the impact seems to be insignificant. Why? Because at both 1%, 5% or 10% level of significance, we can see that the p-value over here is 0.349 and 0.240, which is totally insignificant over here. Now, so we have just written the inference over that it is totally insignificant, is not statistically significant for the post-demerger period. Coming to the next results and discussion, that is with respect to SVA, shareholders value added. Again, we can see a similar inference over here, where the impact is totally statistically insignificant over here. Again, we have shown that with respect to the inference drawn over here, that it is totally insignificant for both the demerged and the control companies. Now coming to the conclusion, so finally we can conclude very well. It is a simple study and we can conclude that the spin-off has not generated any significant change or any significant impact in value generation perspective. So this research has many future implications, managerial and theoretical implications. First of all, the shareholders can see or the managers can see whether spin-off or the demerger process can generate any value for the companies or not. And therefore, they can take various kind of investment decisions. So I hope this was a good presentation for all of you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Samrat, for your wonderful presentation. Please share your details out there with respect to your email address and your research topic. We can take the questions offline or through mail, or people interested will obviously will collaborate with you. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Sherman. So I'm going to present a research entitled Meta-heuristic algorithms for damage prediction in aluminum bar using neural networks and experimental analysis. So the structural health monitoring is a scientific field that has a scientific community. So there have been in the last decades so many researchers which have intent to find readable methods in order to make structural damage detection using optimization methods. So that's why in this work, the damage identification problem is addressed using the neural networks and optimization algorithms, basing on vibration analysis. So for these effects, we have two main objectives. The first one is apply a novel optimization algorithms and the neural networks for the structural health monitorings for B models. Secondly, make these optimization algorithms more effective and more applicable in the structural health monitoring. As a result, we have this contribution. So we have developed a new hybrid algorithms where the optimization algorithms like butterfly optimization algorithm and reptile search algorithms were combined with the neural networks, developing new hybrid algorithms which we can use for structural damage prediction. So the first considered algorithm is the butterfly optimization algorithm. Is an algorithm which is inspired from the nature, is take in its principle the social behavior of the butterflies. Okay. The second considered algorithms is the reptile search algorithms, is also bio-inspired algorithms inspired from the nature, and it mimics the social life of the crocodiles. The crocodiles like the hunting and the encircling for the prey. For our methodology of works, we have here the structure of the artificial neural networks, which consists for input layer, hidden layer, and output layer. So we have we need the data for this for the training of these artificial networks, of course. So we have two main sources of data. We have our numerical model, developed numerical model for B model, and the experimental analysis. So we consider for the data the natural frequencies. So we have to introduce the natural frequencies like a data for the artificial neural network training. So after getting our input data, we will introduce some optimization algorithms. We have our suggested algorithms here, the butterfly and the reptile search algorithms, in order to improve the training parameters for the predictive model for artificial neural networks. We have here other three traditional existing in the hybrid algorithms existing in the literature review. So we'll use this one to give more accuracy to our suggested approach here. So as a result, or like the inputs, we will get the prediction of the damage, which consists of its severity and its locations. In our case, we will consider the structural damage as the crack location and the crack depth. So for the application of this approach, we have suggested the aluminum beam model with these characteristics. For the experimental setup, considering in this test, we have considered the beam model as free boundary conditions. So we will make excitation using this impact hammer and at a fixed point for the beam at the side of the beam. And we have here the accelerator, which allow us to make the measurements for the frequencies and getting the frequency response functions. So for the accelerometers, we have 3 different positions, so 3 measurements as the results, and we will take the average of these 3 measurements. So we have fixed the location of the impact hammer and movable position of the accelerometers. Here, the suggested damage case, we have double cracks we have considered for this beam, double crack. This beam is, this crack is increasing. This is my double crack and this is single crack. For our results, so first application, we will apply the reptile search algorithm. We will apply this approach for predicting the location of the damage. So we have suggested these locations, 4 locations, taking or considering from the mid-span or the middle parts of the beam. So we have, this is the suggested one, the real damage location or the correct location, and those are found by the considered approach. Here we can find the location of the damage found by the reptile search algorithms, and those compared by the other existing approach in order to get more accuracy. So the results are more illustrated here. We can find clearly that the reptile search algorithms could make the damage or could precise the damage or the crack locations with high accuracy comparing to the other existing approaches. Regarding the computational times also, the reptile search algorithm was the fast comparing to the other approaches, existing approaches. For the regression study, also for the artificial neural networks improved by the reptile search algorithms, we have the regression study here is almost equal to 1, and it's more stable comparing to other existing approach, which give a more edification of this new approach. For the convergence study also, here we can find clearly that the convergence study is the best for the reptile search algorithms, which can allow to us to make a damage location prediction in the first few iterations and with optimal results. This one. Here, example for the frequency response function developed from our experimental analysis. The second application is the second algorithm is the butterfly optimization algorithm. This algorithm it was applied to make prediction for crack depth, not damage location as the previous one. This is the crack depth we have suggested at the same beam. So this depth of cracks. So we have here the quantities found by the butterfly optimization algorithms and compared with other existing approaches in the literature. We can find here also clearly when we follow the regression, and more illustration for the results of the table are found here in this picture, in this figure. So the butterfly is always almost close to the real results comparing to the other 2 approaches. Regarding the computational times, or with respect to the computational times, also the butterfly optimization algorithms give a good performance with respect to the computational times. Here also example for the developed frequency response function from the experimental model. We can find that the decrease of the frequencies, natural frequencies, the more the damage increase, the more the frequencies decrease, of course, natural case. As a conclusion, so the results obtained by the reptile search algorithm combined by the artificial neural networks and the butterfly optimization algorithms also combined with artificial neural networks, in the most cases provide superior results in fast conversions and the global optimal achievements. As a result, identifying the crack location and the severity with the lowest number of errors. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Kadir, for your wonderful presentation. Please share your email address.
Thank you for letting me presenting my paper. I will discuss giving children pocket money to help them understand economic principles in personal budget management and reduce gender gaps in financial matters. Does it work? So I will start with introduction. The aim of financial education is to prepare young people to make independent and intelligent decisions regarding their financial resources. Giving children pocket money or an allowance is a generally accepted means for parents to introduce their children to concepts of self-management, saving, budgeting, and fiscal responsibility. Most children have never been taught financial literacy. They maybe are given an allowance, but they have no idea how to manage it. And previous research suggests that access to pocket money may lead to negative outcome and influence, such as tobacco use, unhealthy eating, and increased risk of becoming overweight. In this research, I examined whether being given pocket money influences the financial decision of children aged 12 to 16. I compare 105 parents, children pairs in which the child gets pocket money to 101 parent-child pairs in which the child does not get pocket money. And the pairs did not differ in background variables. I will briefly discuss the literature review. It shows that those who receive a regular allowance during childhood were found to be economically more competent than those who did not. Parents play an essential role in transferring knowledge regarding money. Children have a higher level of economic knowledge if their parents give them an allowance and explain economic issues to them and talk to them about planning household budget. However, simply giving children an allowance is not enough to maximize their economic socialization. Children should also be guided and taught how to use and handle pocket money. Financial literacy can also be taught in school. So previous papers evaluate the effectiveness of school-based financial literacy education programs, and they show that these programs can improve financial knowledge and attitudes among children and adolescents. As for gender differences, they are evident in practices surrounding how pocket money is allocated and handled. Boys receive an allowance more regularly than girls, and girls spend more of their pocket money than boys do. Strong gender differences in all dimensions regarding financial matters were found about financial knowledge, motivation, and behavior. Negative outcomes and influence of giving pocket money also exist. So access to pocket money predicts tobacco use, independent of socioeconomic status. Pocket money is associated with unhealthy eating and increased risk of overweight. And to prevent these negative outcomes of pocket money, children should be taught how to spend pocket money, especially since they will need the skill sooner or later. So the participating parents and children in this paper were asked about their financial understanding in general and specifically about issues related to pocket money. Parents were asked about their current rules, regulations, and attitudes with respect to pocket money and the level of financial explanations they provide their children. And the children were asked about these issues from their perspective. They were asked about what their parents do. So this is the first model, and the model is all about this question. Are you influenced by what your friends do? Meaning, do you also buy similar projects? The independent variables were parents' education, order in family, gender, whether the child receive allowance or not, and their grade. And we also examined the quality of parents' decisions regarding economic issues. So the results of the analysis indicate that the extent of social influence is higher among girls and among children who receive pocket money, but it decreases with age. In addition, the extent of social influence decreases with birth order, such that social influence is lower among the younger children in the family. The data also demonstrate that perception of the quality of parents' financial decision increase as level of parents' education increases, and therefore parents' education has a negative impact on the extent of social influence. Undesirable, this is the next model. The main dependent variables, is undesirable consumer behavior. It was defined as the consumption of candy, soft drinks, and fast food, as measured by the question, do you think you consume too much candy, soft drink, and fast food? And these are the results. So children's undesirable excess consumption is higher among girls. Excess consumption decreases as children become more involved in the household financial decisions and as their perceptions of the quality of their parents' financial decision increase. This mediates the influence of additional background characteristics. Perceived quality of parents' financial decisions is lower among younger children in the family, but increases as parents' education level rises. The extent of children involvement in the family's financial decision decreases as parents' education level decreases. However, involvement is higher among children of divorced parents and among children who are given pocket money. The extent of children involvement in the family's financial decision increases with age. So, summing up this research, the results demonstrate that 72% of children reported running out of money before their next pocket money allocation is due. In the vast majority of these cases, the parents give their children more money. Therefore, it is questionable whether giving pocket money is significant behind serving as a budget framework. In other words, is pocket money the best way to teach children about money? We see that girls more than boys see themselves as more influenced by their friends in the context of consumer decisions and perceive themselves as excessive consumers. This result is surprising considering that no difference emerged between girls and boys with respect to the parameters that influence children's financial decision, like how they perceive the quality of their parents' financial decision and their involvement in the family financial matters. We cannot conclude whether girls merely perceive themselves as excessive consumers or whether they actually do consume excessively. This is a topic for a follow-up question. The study's results demonstrate that getting pocket money has no impact on children's excessive consumption of fast food and sweets, whether society's impact on children's consumer decision increases when they have been given pocket money. In contrast, if children believe their parents make good financial decisions, and if parents share the household financial decision with them, children will make better financial decisions themselves. In other words, as children's perception of the quality of their parents' financial decision increases, the extent of social influence on their consumption decreases, and they are less inclined to consume sweets and fast food excessively. Moreover, children's involvement in the household financial lowers their tendency towards excessive consumption. This involvement includes discussing with their parents' income level and in more details. The bottom line is that parents should know that deciding to give their children pocket money does not mean their job is done. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Respected panel members and everyone present here, I am Purti Bajaj along with Ragini from Indira Gandhi Delhi Technical University for Women are here to present a brief on our paper titled A Review Paper on Face Recognition Methods under the supervision of Neha Singh ma'am. Ragini, can you please move to the next slide?
Sure.
Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah. Before directly jumping to the methods involved in face recognition, we will first start by addressing what exactly is face recognition. So basically, the face recognition system is a replica of human vision that possesses incredible detection, identification, and processing power. The vision and the goal behind writing this review paper is to compare various face recognition algorithms using different factors of the face such as orientation, alignment, pose, illumination, and expressions, which basically defines and affects the accuracy of the system, and our end goal is to deliver accurate results in order to avoid false identification. Next slide, please. Yeah. After having a look on what exactly is face recognition, we will now move on to the next question. Why do we need face recognition? As with other commonly used biometric technologies like fingerprint recognition and iris recognition, facial recognition is a biometric tool which identifies a person based on specific aspects of their physiology. Facial technology is significantly used in the area of safety and security. Law enforcement help to locate and find missing people, also prevent terrorist attacks and find or uncover local criminals. They are also used to authenticate users. College facilities are using it to take attendance. These all have been made possible by the use of face recognition and identification technology. In this paper, we have made an attempt to review some of the methods which are being extensively used in the era of face recognition. Next slide. Now that we are familiar with the applications of face recognition, we will discuss how face recognition actually works. First, your face is captured with a photo or video. It can also capture when you are in real time, even if you are alone or in a crowd. The software then measures a variety of facial features which are unique for everyone. This could include the distance between the eyes, the width of the nose, distance from your forehead to chin, etc. This information is then converted into a mathematical formula which represents your unique facial signature. This facial signature is then compared to the database of known images. The software then decides whether to sample matches any picture in the database or not. Next slide. Yeah, now we will discuss various face recognition algorithms which we have added in the review paper. So we have discussed about 4 face recognition algorithm, which includes Viola-Jones, CNN convolutional neural network, PCA principal component analysis, and SVM support vector machine. And in the upcoming slides, we will see them one by one. Next slide. Yeah, now we will first have a look at Viola-Jones algorithm. Paul Viola and Michael Jones introduced the Viola-Jones method in 2001. When it comes to face detection, Viola-Jones is pretty effective. Although this algorithm can detect faces quickly, it takes a relevantly long time to train. Since there may be numerous faces and other things in a picture, it examines various locations in image to look for faces using hair-like properties. The 4 main steps are as follows. Selecting hair-like features. Basically, hair-like features help to interpret different parts of a face. Humans have some unique attributes of their faces which are calculated in pixels, that is, the darker and the brighter regions. The sum of the pixels of darker region is less than that of the lighter region. Hence, it becomes possible to interpret the eyebrows, nose, and other attributes of the human face. Next, creating an integral image. It eventually seems easy to calculate the sum of pixels to find darker and brighter spots. But when it comes to its application in the real world, it becomes intensive. It becomes very painful to calculate the value of each feature and perform calculations on every pixel. It is used to find the data structure to calculate the values of sum of pixels in any image. Next page. Yeah, next is running AdaBoost training. We have AdaBoost, which is used for identification of the best features in a face. By feeding training data in AdaBoost, we are ensuring it identifies the important features of a face, which it will use in the test images to predict the correct subject of that image using those useful features which have already been fed to it. Fourth is creating classifier cascades. Now it's not possible for AdaBoost to select the best features from each region of the face, as it will become a long and never-ending process. So to avoid unwanted computations over some regions which are of no use, we use cascade, which ignores or discards non-faces from the images. Next page. Yeah, now we will have a look on CNN. It basically takes in data, trains themselves to recognize the patterns in this data, and then predicts the output for a new set of similar data. Neural networks are made up of layers of neurons. First, we have an input layer which receives the input. The output layer predicts our final output. And in between there exists hidden layers which performs most of the computations required by our networks. Cameras on our smartphones can detect our faces, and the filters used in Instagram and Snapchat can estimate the age of the person based on the facial features. First, the face is differentiated from the background, and then various factors like pose, expression, illumination, distance from the camera, etc. are taken into consideration. Then by correlating the lines and spots on your face, it can predict the possible age of the sample. Next page. Yeah, so PCA is mostly used in machine learning to decrease the dimensions. Principal components are the new features that have undergone transformation. PCA attempts to construct a low dimension surface in order to project high dimension data. Some of its uses include image processing and movie video recommendation. PCA is used to extract important features by reducing the dimensions. Then feature vectors are tested according to the trained data. You can see in the image given below. Next page. Lastly, we have SVM, support vector machine. SVMs are binary classification method. It undergoes supervised learning. SVM is considered a pattern classifier. SVM draws a decision boundary, which is a hyperplane between any two classes in order to separate them or classify them. For face recognition, we reinterpret the decision surface to produce a similarity matrix between two facial images, as you can see in the given diagram. SVM can achieve better generalization performance. Next page. Now for the conclusion. In order to achieve better and more trustworthy findings, we have also ensured that this review paper incorporates the elements that influence the reliability of face recognition, such as orientation, alignment, illumination, and expressions. Additionally, the major objective of the detection, identification, and processing phase is to provide accurate findings in order to prevent fraudulent identification. In order to discuss some of the efficient and useful facial recognition techniques, we took an effort to review a substantial number of articles. These algorithms are incredibly fantastic and offer trustworthy results depending on the type of dataset, the number of samples taken into account, and variations in pose, illumination, distance, angle, etc. So we can conclude that the study shows that there are numerous alternative strategies that may be utilized for improved face recognition in addition to Viola-Jones, PCA, SVM, and CNN, as we have seen earlier. These techniques, including ANN, ICA, and others, may produce higher performance and more accurate results. Next page. So we have provided a link for our review paper, and this is our review paper. Yeah. Thank you so much for being patient listeners. We appreciate your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Ragini, for your wonderful presentation and nice work which you have carried out. Yeah, please share your email address out there. We will get in touch. Nice research work, actually.
Sure.
Thank you.
Myself Anushka Nambiar, a third year CSE student from Amrita School of Computing, Chennai. Today, I will be talking about my paper titled Heart Disease Prediction Using Supervised Learning Algorithms, a Comparative Study. This paper is written under the mentorship of Dr. A. Padmavati, Assistant Professor, CSE Department, Amrita School of Computing, Chennai, alongside my co-authors Aniket Gupta, Kumar Lakshmikant, and Aditya Bansal. We will start off with an introduction to the paper, followed by the motivation behind selecting this very topic, the literature review, the proposed work, result obtained, references, and finally, I will conclude. The heart plays an important role in understanding the body since antiquity. The most important and vital part of the human body, the heart helps the blood to flow through the body so that the person can live a healthy life. There are many diseases associated with the heart, so the prognosis of the heart must be accurate, or it can prove fatal as the person could lose their life. We can see that according to the statistics of 2016-17, heart diseases are the leading causes of death, followed by cancer, unintentional injuries, and so on. It is very difficult to detect diseases like heart diseases in their early stage because of the lack of facilities and diagnostic centers. Often, these diseases are predicted at the end of the phase. Advanced machine learning techniques are hence used in creating devices and software that are used for the early detection of such diseases. Coming to the motivation behind selecting this topic, patients who suffer from heart diseases require quick diagnosis, early treatment, and constant observation. To address their needs, many machine learning and data mining approaches have been used in the past in diagnosing and predicting heart diseases. We conducted a literature survey on 10 papers, and 6 of them are shown here. Next slide, please. We observed that quite a number of papers have used naive-Bayes, random forest, and logistic regression, and the heart disease UCI dataset has been used by most of them, and the limitations and result for each of the paper is as shown. We propose to conduct a comparative study of various machine learning algorithms to find the best algorithm for predicting heart diseases based on accuracy, precision, recall, and F-measure. We have a dataset consisting of 12 attributes, that is age, gender of the person, chest pain type, the patient's BP while resting, cholesterol level, fasting blood sugar levels, the ECG results, the highest heart rate of the patient, exercise-induced anemia, ST depression, and slope of the peak exercise. All these values are computed, and then finally we have our target column, that is the heart disease, which indicates whether a person has a heart disease or not. There are various data mining tools and data pre-processing we have done on this data set. The tools which we have used are NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Seaborn, Plotly, and sklearn, which are libraries of Python. And Python is our core programming language we have used for this research. And for data pre-processing, we have done the basics data pre-processing, like checking for null values, removing duplicate entries, etc. You can also see a workflow of what we have done here as a flowchart. First, we import the data from the dataset, and then we split the columns. So the target value is our Y column, and all the other columns are selected as X. Later on, this X and Y is split into training and testing data using train test split. Later, this training data is trained, and the model obtained is scored and evaluated. Next slide, please. Coming to the model architectures, we have 6 machine learning models which we have compared, which is logistic regression, SVM, that is support vector machine, KNN or K nearest neighbor, naive Bayes, random forest, and multiple linear regression. Starting with logistic regression, it is a binary classifier. It is a classification algorithm. So first, regression is performed on the independent variables, and later on, using the sigmoid function, the value of the dependent variable so obtained is placed in a range of 0 to 1. Next slide, please. This shows the graph of the sigmoid function, that is 1 by 1 plus e raised to minus t. And logistic regression works on probability. So your range will lie from 0 to 1. Coming to SVM or support vector machine, in SVM we have a decision boundary or the best line which is a hyperplane which divides the points. We can see the representation of SVM. So here for a 2-dimension space, the hyperplane is a line. Now when this 2-dimension changes into a 3D, the hyperplane becomes a plane. Coming to the next one, KNN. KNN uses Euclidean distance. That is, we have a data point and we calculate the distance from that data point to the cases available, and then the cases which is the shortest distance, we will assign the data point to that category. The next slide shows the graph for KNN, and the formula D equals root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square is the Euclidean distance formula. Coming to random forest can be used both as a classifier and a regressor, and in our case we have used it as a classifier. Random forest uses ensemble learning techniques and bagging. So we have the data set which is divided into smaller data sets, and then later the prediction of those smaller decision trees is put into majority voting or averaging, and then finally we obtain the result. Coming to naive Bayes depends on the Bayes theorem of probability. So we have the next slide, please. We have the formula P of H given E equals P of E given H.
Mr. Sorry for interrupting. I request you to complete it in 2 minutes.
Sure. Into P of H whole divided by P of E. So this is the Bayes theorem, and the naive Bayes is based on this Bayes theorem. Next slide, please. Lastly, we have multiple linear regression, in which we get the relation between a dependent and an independent variable. Here in the formula, you can see that y of I is the dependent variable and x1, x2, etc. are the independent variables. Next slide, please. So this is the graph of multiple linear regression. Coming to the evaluation measures, we have taken into consideration the precision, recall, and accuracy, and the mathematics for which is depicted. Coming to the results now, we have observed that the random forest classifier has the highest accuracy of 92%. And we also show a graph. Next slide, please. We also show a graph of all the parameters plotted against each of the algorithm, and from this we can conclude that the random forest is the highest performing for each and every measure we have taken into consideration. Finally, these are the references we have references for our paper, and thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you for your presentation.
Hello everyone, myself Rishikesh Kolte, going to present credit card fraud detection using machine learning. These are the contents for my presentation. Introduction: credit card fraud is a growing concern with a far-reaching concern in the government, corporate organization, and finance industry, etc. In today's world, high dependency on internet technology has enjoyed increased credit card transaction, but credit card fraud had also accelerated as online and offline transaction. Credit card transaction become a widespread mode of payment. Focus has been given to recent computation methodologies to handle the credit card fraud problem. Machine learning is one of notable and popular method used in solving credit card fraud detection problem. Credit card fraud detection is very popular, but also a difficult problem to solve. These are the objective to formalization of the credit detection problem that realistically describes the operation condition of frauds that everyday analyze massive streams of credit card transactions to design, assess a new technique that effectively address credit card frauds to timely identification of fraudulent transactions can prevent the fraudsters from further committing such illicit crimes. This is the motivation. The use of machine learning in fraud detection has been an interesting topic nowadays. A credit card fraud detection algorithm consists in identifying those transactions with a high probability of being fraud based on historical fraud patterns. Machine learning having three types. From that, also the supervised and hybrid approach is more suitable for fraud detection. These are the literature review which have gathered from the year 2018 and 2019. The problem statement to build credit card fraud detection system using machine learning algorithm. The major aim of this project is to perform a comprehensive review of different fraud detection methods and some innovative machine learning techniques. Existing system and approach of this technique is to detect efficient credit card fraud detection using data mining techniques. It has become more difficult to develop new fraud detection mechanism and fraud detection method as well. Proposed system. In this system, evidence from current as well as past behavior are combined. A fraud detection system is proposed that indicates rule-based filter, transaction history, database, and Bayesian learner. Algorithm. The algorithm which we use in credit card fraud detection is random forest. The random forest is an ensemble learning algorithm. The basic premise of the algorithm is that building a small decision tree with few features is an computational chip process. If we can then combine the trees to form a single strong learner by averaging or taking the majority vote. Mathematical model. The mathematical model for credit card fraud detection is S equals to curly bracket I comma F comma 0 curly bracket close, where I is set of input, F is set of function, and O is fraud detection. This is a system architecture. We can see here it consists of 4 phases, where first phase consists of pre-processed data. Second phase consists of modeling, training, building, training, building, and test model prediction. And third phase consists of transaction features extraction, and last fourth phase consists of machine learning classifier, then fraud detection, and at last we get output. And last conclusion: credit card detection is fascinating domain. From this survey, we analyze machine learning is best in compared to prediction, clustering, outliner detection, etc. Machine learning techniques are mostly preferred in fraud detection because of its high accuracy and detection rate. Still, researchers are struggling to get more accurate and detection rate. Moreover, organizations are interested in finding methods that can reduce cost and increase the profit they can find and select the method from above studies. These are the reference. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Rishikesh, for your wonderful presentation.
Everyone, Muskan Sachdev here. I'm an intern at Dr. D.Y. Patil Dental College, which is in Pune, India. I'll be presenting a paper under the guidance of Dr. Bhushan Bhagat sir. Our topic is Innovative Teaching Learning Method, Eklavya Method for Identification of Dental Forceps. Next slide, please. Let's know who was Eklavya. Eklavya was a character in Mahabharata who belonged to a very poor family. However, he wanted to learn archery from the master Dronacharya. Dronacharya denied Eklavya's request, but despite this, Eklavya did not lose hope. He started practicing on his own, and later he mastered the art of archery. Next slide, please. There are some life lessons that we learn from Eklavya. One is that you create yourself. When you are good enough, sincere, and dedicated, then absence of quality teachers or learning resources is not a barrier to the learning. By self-mentoring, anything can be achieved. And as we saw that Eklavya did not have the guidance of Dronacharya, still he mastered the art of archery. In order to give justice to Eklavya, this technique is named after him. Next slide, please. So let's get back to our topic. In the era of knowledge-based society, collaborative and innovative teaching learning techniques play a significant role. Times have changed from teacher-centered learning to a student-centered interactive learning environment. Learners will be able to learn better when they construct their own knowledge. It was noticed that learners can achieve their zone of proximal development with the help of capable peer. According to cognitive theory, the learner will construct knowledge better when he or she feels or palpates the instrument using one of his or her senses of the body. Here, we are referring to it as touch. The author gave the learners a discussion on dental forceps. Now, you might be wondering, why do we need this sort of method? Okay, we already have a conventional method of teaching learning, wherein a professor comes to the classroom, he or she gives a lecture on the blackboard, he or she constantly speaks for like 40 to 50 minutes, and that's it, the lecture is done. Okay. So whether or not students have understood the topic is of concern. So there is a need to develop innovative teaching learning method so that students can understand the topic properly and they should be able to retain it for a longer period of time. Innovative teaching method, namely the Eklavya method, will be helpful not only for Viva, but also for clinical significance of learners. Now let's understand what this technique is. So let me tell you something about dental forceps. It is an instrument that is used for extraction or removal of tooth. So there are different sets of instruments for all tooth. For anterior tooth, we have different. For posterior, there is a different instrument. In fact, each instrument has a separate design. So what was this technique? First of all, the author gave the learners a discussion on the dental forceps. Later, each learner was told to identify the forceps one by one with their eyes open. It is pretty much obvious that this was simple. Now, they were told to close their eyes and identify the forceps by feeling or palpating them. In this way, the student was able to feel the design of the forceps and identify them. Learners were graded based on their performance. This continued until all the learners were able to identify the forceps correctly. Next slide, please. So as you can see how this technique was done. So what we saw was that after this technique, first of all, students were excited because this is something different from the conventional teaching learning technique. They found this method to be very helpful for their viva as well as for clinical practice. This collaborative technique made learners' understanding easy and innovative. They were able to retain the concepts easily. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today I will be presenting our project topic on secure file storage in cloud computing using hybrid cryptography algorithm, presented by with our co-authors Ayush Mehre, Hardi Amrani, and Divya Macha, and myself Mayur Attarde. So these are the contents for our presentation. So starting with the introduction, nowadays cloud computing is used in many areas like industry, military colleges, healthcare, etc. to store huge amount of data. We can retrieve data from cloud on request of user. To store data on cloud, we have to face many issues. To provide the solution to these issues, there are n number of ways. In cloud, user can remotely store their data to cloud and realize the data sharing with others. In some common cloud storage systems, such as electronic health record system, the cloud file might contain some sensitive information. Encrypting the whole shared file can realize the sensitive information hiding, but will make this shared file unable to be used by others. So in our system, our scheme makes the file stored in the cloud able to be shared and used by the user on the condition that the sensitive information is hidden, while the remote data integrity auditing is still able to be efficiently executed. Meanwhile, the proposed scheme is based on identity-based cryptography, which simplifies the complicated certificate management. So this is the motivation for our project, that is data sharing with sensitive information hiding, new concept generation called identity-based shared data integrity, and the cloud security. This is the problem statement for our presentation. That is today cloud computing is utilized to store enormous amount of data in a variety of sectors, including industry, military, colleges, healthcare, etc. There are numerous challenges involved in cloud storages. Users of cloud can share their data with one another and remotely save their data in the cloud. Sensitive information may be found in several common cloud storage system. The sensitive information can be realized by encrypting the entire shared file, but it will prevent others from using it. So more sensitive information is hidden in the cloud computing. To build and implement secure file storage in cloud computing using hybrid cryptography algorithm. So these are the literature survey. The paper we referred is the security challenges for the public cloud, provable data position at untrusted store, the proofs of irretrievability of large file, privacy preserving public auditing for secure cloud storage. So proposed system. So in our system proposed an identity-based data integrity auditing scheme for secure cloud storage, which support data sharing with sensitive information hiding. In our application, user upload the data into cloud with a user and researcher. When doctors share the data with user, that file go to admin and admin convert into binary format. And after that binary format file again convert into homomorphic encryption and stored into block levels. So this is the system architecture. And the modules we are going to use are user and admin. Firstly, the user can access the modules that are registration, login, upload documents, and check document. Whereas admin can access the module that is registration, login, view user profiles, and verify the documents uploaded by the user. So algorithm that we will be using for our encryption standards are AES algorithm. So AES algorithm, that is advanced encryption standard. It is the symmetric algorithm. It is used to convert plain text into ciphertext. So the need for using this algorithm is that weakness in DES algorithm, as the 56-bit key of DES is no longer safe against attack based on exhaustive key searches, and 64-bit block also considered as weak. AES want to be use 128-bit blocks with 128-bit keys. So Regendel was founder of the AES algorithm. In this drop, we are using it to encrypt the data owner file. So input will be the 128-bit key, or it will range from 128 to 256-bit input. The secret key will be 128-bit, and the plain text will be converted into 128-bit. And finally, after processing, we'll get the output that will be our ciphertext that will be of 128 bits. So this is the mathematical model for our storage system. So proceeding forward, advantages. So in our system, cloud, then sensitive information is hidden with the help of hidden data identity auditing, called as identity-based shared data. In our system, the file stored in cloud able to be shared and used by other on the condition that the sensitive information is protected, while the remote data integrity auditing is still able to be efficiently executed. So the applications are a cloud application, data storage application. And finally, we'll go to the conclusion. In this paper, we propose an identity-based data integrity auditing scheme for secure cloud storage, which supports data sharing with sensitive information hiding. In our scheme, the file is stored on cloud, can be shared and used by other on the condition that the sensitive information should be protected. The remote data integrity auditing scheme is still able to be efficiently executed. The security proof and experimental analysis demonstrate that the proposed scheme achieves desirable security and efficiency. So the future scope are furthermore proposing a new scheme to support more expressive keyword, that is search. And these are some references. Thank you for watching.
Good afternoon, everyone. My topic will be explaining is skin cancer detection using machine learning. Myself, Rohan Biradar, with having a co-authors as Asad Dakhani, Praveen Khaire, Vipul Sonane, under the guidance of Professor Aisha Sayyed. We are from Trinity College of Engineering, Research and Pune. We belongs to the Department of Information Technology. So our topic is skin cancer detection. Firstly, the skin cancer. Firstly, the skin cancers are cancer that arise from the skin. They are due to the development of abnormal cells that have ability to invade or spread to other parts of the body. There are very high percentage accuracy while implementing this model. In this study, our task is to detect the three most types of the skin cancer are in early stage using CNN. This is the problem definition. The existing system, which is currently implementing in the healthcare department, is a very time consuming. And implementing this system can automate the classification of process of various types of skin cancer in a very minimal time. The motivation which we have for implementing this project, that currently the skin cancer incidence rate have been increasingly high, and one of the type of it is melanoma, which is nearly incurable. So detecting it in early stage and implementing its treatment can be very beneficial. These are the literature surveys which we referred while deciding or implementing our project. Firstly, the melanoma skin cancer detection using deep learning and advanced regularizer, millimeter wave subtract integrated waveguide probe for skin cancer detection, and improvement of skin cancer detection performance using deep learning techniques. So our system proposes that with the essential task of medical image mining, and skin field segmentation, data processing, feature extraction, and various deep learning or machine learning concepts are being used. The CNN algorithm is used in our project. This is the proposed system architecture. Initially, we take the input image, we contrast its enhancement, converts its RGB transmission. After that, the visualization is been done with the 2D to 1D, and after estimating with some features, the type is been classified with the expected result. This is the data flow diagram. Where initially input the image is been segmented and later on it classified accordingly. And in conclusion, in this project, different phases of image processing were applied on skin modules. From these different images processing techniques, the fuzzy filter will provide the efficient denoising. The various techniques are being used for detecting the skin cancer in early stage, so that it can be cured and can be avoided. So thank you.
Thank you, Rohan, for your wonderful presentation. Please share your email address
Excuse me, sir.
in the details
Sir,
out there in the chat
actually, I
box.
got one doubt and I pinged it on WhatsApp. So after that completion, can you look out for it?
You can DM me. I'll just